I'm Hanan Farjani, back with an all-new Inspire Africa edition. Today, we take you on an in-depth tour of the Museum of Black Civilizations in Dakar, Senegal. We'll also find out more about the Malian social network that is specifically designed for the illiterate. And finally, we'll discover the DRC through the lens of its up-and-coming activist and photographer, Leuwera. Stay with us. The tragedy of Africa is that the African man has not fully entered into history. Some of you may recall this controversial quote from former French President Nicolas Sarkozy's Dakar speech. Fast forward to today, and the continent keeps proving that statement wrong by taking ownership of the narrative on African civilization. One of the latest illustrations of that is the launch of a museum dedicated to Black civilizations in the capital of Senegal, a Pan-African project with the potential of breaking all the stereotypes on Africa's heritage and conservation capabilities. Desiree Cano takes us on a tour.
It took 50 years for this monumental project to finally see the light of day. The Museum of Black Civilizations, owned by Léopold Sédar Senghor, a few years after independence, has recently opened in the Senegalese capital. It occupies 14,000 meters square with a capacity of about 18,000 works of art. The designers of the site worked on a masterpiece, an architectural feat.
It is a museum of all possibilities. In all areas, this museum will innovate and bring a special touch. This museum is unique with a great vision. We are not an ethnographic, anthropological, neither a chromatic museum. It is not the Museum of Blacks. It is the Museum of Black Civilization.
The architectural design of the building is inspired by the round huts of Casamas, a regional site in Senegal. But the museum's identity goes beyond national borders, even continental. Here, art, history, and the culture of Black civilizations around the world are highlighted. Artists from all walks of life are represented.
I think it will be a place where not only Africans could meet, but also the African diaspora. They know that they have a place that will value their work, and also with a discourse that will be completely different from the usual discourse on modern art and any other arts in the world.
The museum could be the alternative picture Africa needs, away from the negative impressions that define its history.
There's a retrospective of the biennial with a powerful work called the Berlinization Laboratory. Many people do not know what Berlin did to Africa. In 1884 to 1885, a meeting was organized in Berlin among the future colonial powers, and they decided to divide Africa into small pieces. And you have at the bottom of the image a caged Africa, and this Africa, it is Africa of Berlin, what we have inherited today.
Africa continues to yearn for freedom as it highlights its identity.
La silhouette de la ville de Tombouctou.
5 decades later, and with a contribution of $35 million from China, a Pan-African dream is materializing. A dream that runs counter to those killing Africa's legacy that is deeply rooted in its cultural heritage.
In Africa, more than 1 in 3 adults cannot read, and 48 million youths are illiterate. NGOs and associations across the continent have been working towards mitigating those staggering numbers, but the illiterate remain an important portion of the population, which is often overlooked in the ongoing process of digital transformation. Enter Lenali, a social network created in Mali aimed at people who cannot read or write. The mobile application offers a range of services designed to meet this demographics needs.
In Mali, a country where language is a culture, less than half of the population can read and write. It's a reality that has triggered Mamadou Guru Sidibe to design Lenali, the first totally audio social network dedicated to illiterates who speak local languages. Initially, this computer scientist just wanted to develop voice guides in several local languages of Mali to facilitate the installation of the application by users. Progressively, Mamadou thought about all the features accessible by voice. The trial was well received by Malians, who now perceive it as a way to escape digital illiteracy.
Lenali at first was the desire to make Malian Viber. Gradually, until one day, I got into a corner store. There was a gentleman who used to serve me when I bought something. He handed me his phone with his Viber, where he had received a message in French that he could not read. That's where I clicked, I'm running behind Viber, even though it's not even understood by local people.
This innovation is transforming people's lives on a daily basis. Many such as small entrepreneurs are benefiting with their businesses thriving. Modibo Diallo sells his goods on the Lenali exchange platform in Bambara, the most widely spoken language in Mali.
I put my products on Lenali and I saw that it's different from other social networks because Lenali is more vocal, so you can advertise your products and get in touch with customers with the voice option. Since knowing Lenali, the number of customers has increased and my turnover has almost doubled.
The social network Lenali broadens its field of action, focusing on gender issues thanks to the section Lena Farm, which highlights the activities of women, but also the awareness of behavioral change with a Toguna boxed in the premises of Lenali and broadcast live on the platform. Since the official launch of Lenali in March 2017, the application has been downloaded more than 50,000 times. Today, the Lenali Group hopes to contribute to the emergence of the digital economy on the continent.
Her work has been featured in Departures, Huck Magazine, the New York Times Lens blog, and Upworthy, amongst many others. And she's exhibited her photographs in Morocco, Turkey, and the United States. Lei Uwera is gaining global recognition for her unique eye and authentic storytelling on her country, the DRC. She joins me now from Goma in the eastern part of the country. Hello, Lei, and welcome to Inspire Africa. Lei Uwera, you often say that you feel the need to capture underreported things. What would you say are the most important things that need to be shown about the Eastern DRC, a region that's been marred by conflict for several years?
The Kivu region has for years, decades, been unstable. But in my work as a photojournalist, of course, I try to show something more or less different, because it's a region known for war. There are a few people who often show the other side of what is happening in Congo. I show this contrast. There is also beauty in Eastern Congo. There are wonderful things happening here, and that is what I want to show, which is visible in my photos and images that people look at.
Last year, some of your work was selected for the Everyday Africa Repicturing a Continent project. Tell us more about these pictures and the stories they were telling.
Everyday Africa is a platform of photographers who are based in Africa. Most of them are Africans. 2 American photographers have been interested in the work of other African photographers, one of whom I am. I am also a contributor to Everyday Africa. But the other objective of the platform is to break stereotypes and cliches of Africa. Everyday Africa, through these images, we try to paint Africa positive. And some of my images are in the book and are mostly images of Eastern DRC, images of Senegal. This is the approach that Everyday Africa employs in his work.
And lastly, Lei, as I was saying earlier, you mainly showcase your work outside of the continent. How are you managing this lack of space and recognition in Africa, knowing that you are trying through your work, through your photography, to impact the continent?
Yes, it remains a challenge. My work has not yet been exhibited in some structures in Africa, though it has been exhibited in some. As I said earlier, the last time we exhibited in Nairobi, we showed a lot more work of African photographers some of whom did not have the opportunity to arrive for the exhibition of their works, that African photographers want to tell stories of Africa in their own way. We who live here are the ones who experience what we experience at home, so we are the best position to tell our stories. It's still a challenge, as I said.
With this interview, we've come to the end of today's show. I'll bid you goodbye and leave you with our social media highlights. This photo of a senior sitting in front of a mosque in Lamu, Kenya, and taken by Atla-Frohimian Kara Arai, and so did the snapshot of street life in Marrakesh, Morocco, emphasizing contrast between an intricate Persian carpet and the damaged brick wall it's sitting on.